Hi, I'm Paul with MadCap Software, and welcome to MadCap Flare Online, which is a cloud-based platform that lets you plan, track, and manage the processes, content, and teams that are at the heart of your organization. So, you've subscribed to MadCap Flare Online, so what do you do? Well, let's take a look at the interface. So this is Flare Online. You open it up, it's going to look like this. You're logged in, you see your name and your avatar if you provide one. And then you see all of these things over here on the left-hand side. And whenever you click one of these, the page changes on the right. Now, I'm not going to go through everything in Flare Online in detail. That would take way too long. Instead, what I want to do is just focus on what I think are the six main things that you probably want to start focusing on. And then you can learn about the other things later. And I'm not going to go into every detail of all those things. I just want to give you a high-level look. I have a whole bunch more videos that I've done over the past few years. And so if you want more detail on those, or if you want to explore things that I'm not talking about in this video, go look at those videos. And I'm going to put them, there will be a link to the playlist in the description for this YouTube video. There will also be, you'll see the link to the playlist at the very, very end of this video. Now, some of those videos you might see have the name Central on them. They're called Central. Well, that's because that was the previous name for Flare Online. But if you watch them, yeah, the interface might look a little bit different, but the substance is pretty much the same as it is now, and you'll be able to, figure things out. But just be aware of that. You're going to see Flare Online, you're going to see Central. They mean the same thing. So let's get into it. What are the six things that I think you should start focusing on? The first thing I think you're going to want to do is get some other users onto your license. So come over here on the left and select users. Now, I already have many that are already on this license. You can see in here. But when you first subscribe, you're going to be, or whoever subscribed is going to be the only person in here. In this case is me right here. So you would only see one row in there, and you are automatically, or that person who subscribed is automatically an admin. And you can tell if someone is an admin because they get a little crown there just to make them feel special. So got a lot of users in here, and when you want to add a new user, well, first of all, you have to ask yourself, well, what kind of a user? Because there are three types. And if you look at this list, you're going to see several in here that are authors. And authors are really like the super users. They're the people who are going to be in here the most. They're going to see all of these options over here on the left, and they're going to be working all over the place in this. But you can also add subject matter experts or SMEs, and I have a couple in here, right, like that. And so these are people who they're not authors, but you want to send them topics from your project so that they can review them and give you comments and edits. And so those people will be able to log in to Flare Online also, but they're only going to see this reviews page right here because that's all they need to deal with. That's all they're allowed to do. There is a third user type, and those are viewers. And you can see I've got some right in here. And these are people who their only purpose is to be allowed to view private output that you have published. They have to log in with their credentials. So the good thing about the viewer user types is they're absolutely free. You can add as many as you want. And if you integrate with a single sign-on in Flare Online, there's a really cool way to just add these people automatically as they go attempt to log in to see that private output. Now, if I want to add new users, first of all, I need to know that I have the right to do that, the right permissions. First of all, you have to be an author to do it. And then you want to come up and click on your avatar there and go to permissions. These are all the different kinds of permissions for different things you can do in Flare Online. And you can see I have all the permissions set for me. Other people, they might have some permissions and others they're deselected. And I have this user administration permission right there. And that means I'm allowed to invite other users to the license. I'm going to click cancel out of this. And now I just click right here and you get this wizard. And this just walks you through it. I'm not going to go through everything in detail once again because yeah, all these 6 things that I'm going through have other videos. And so you can go check this all out in more detail. You can add many users at the same time if you want to do that. I'm going to do this simple thing and just click add one user. What kind of user do you want to add? I'm going to add another author and I'm going to put in Marge Gunderson and put in her email. And then I just click next. Now, here are those permissions, and these are the default settings for a new author. And you can go through it and ask yourself, do I want this person to have more administrative type permissions? Do I want to make them a user admin? Do I want to limit the things that they can do with projects and outputs and files? I'm just going to keep these default selections and click next. And now you can also add a new user to a team. And you can see over here, teams, that's something I'm not going to cover in this, but it's a way to organize your users. And these can be really useful setting up teams. I'm not going to associate Marge with a team just yet. I can always come back later, go into her profile and associate her with a team if I want. Click next. This is a summary, send the invite. Now it's going to go and send Marge an email. She'll get that and she can go and accept her invitation. Now, once I finish that wizard, you see that this little refresh, this has a little red dot on it, which means, hey, things have changed. If you click this, something new is going to pop up. And I do, and Marge Gunderson is right there. You can see she's been invited, but she hasn't gone through yet and accepted. Once she does and sets up her profile and things, she'll be an active user in the license. So it's pretty simple to get new people on board. So now let's talk about projects, because one of the main things you want to do up in Flare Online is work with your projects, build output, do lots of things with those. So how do you get projects in Flare Online? Well, I'm going to click on this and you're going to see that I already have lots of projects in here. So you've got a choice. You can create a project right here within Flare Online, or you can also go to the desktop version of Flare, which you'll probably hear referred to as just as Flare or as Flare Desktop. You can create one there and then you can upload it up to Flare Online. And we'll just quickly go through both. So first of all, you got to make sure that you have the right permissions. Let's go and look at that. And what I need is this one right here, this create, upload new projects, and I already have it. So I'm going to come in here, and if I want to add a new project in Flare Online, I just click this plus button. And you can see I already have this project called Austin, and then all these module projects 1 through 9 in here, because I'm not very creative with my naming. So just give it a name. And you can give it a description if you want. I'm not going to. There's my primary language, English, and click next. Now you have the option of choosing a template. So it's going to have a look and feel. It's going to have certain content already in place for you. And all you do is just click in here and just start selecting these, and you see previews and short descriptions over on the right for what you're getting. And a lot of these are set up really out of the box to let you create online output. And then some of these are set up to create both online and print or PDF output right out of the box. And then some of these are set up just for print-based output right out of the box. And it's not like you are just stuck on that when you select a template. You can always add these things later, but most people will have an idea of the kinds of outputs they want to choose. And so they just select one of these. There are also these tutorial templates down here, Austin and San Diego, and you can select one of these. If you just want that look and feel and change your branding and your content, These were really created for tutorials that are available in the help system for Flare Desktop. They're not at the time of this recording up in Flare Online. No tutorials are up there, but that could change over time. And then there's also this empty template, which is the most basic template with the fewest things in it. So I'm just going to select this one that I kind of like called Side Navigation and PDF. That's what I'm starting out with. Click Next. Now I can set up my branding really quick. So most people have company colors and you can just easily choose those in here. So I'm going to click this right here and change my primary color. I'm just going to choose this red because that's real easy for me to do. And then maybe my secondary color. And over here on the right, you can see it just dynamically changes. My secondary color, maybe I'll just do a lighter version of red. Click off of there. But in real life, I'd probably get a hex number from my graphics person and I would just put them in here. They know the exact colors. And then there are all these ancillary colors in here from lightest to darkest, and you can play with those if you want. A lot of people will just leave them the way they are. You can put your main font in here. You can change the images such as your logo and your hero image, which is this big image background right there and right there. And I'm not going to change those, but as you select those, the preview is going to change, so you know what you get. Now, the colors that you choose here, you're not seeing the results here in the preview for absolutely every place in that project, but this gives you a good idea of what you're getting by selecting these things. Click Next. This is a summary. Click Create Project. And now that project is created and I'm already in it because you can see module 11. If I click this and go back out, it's listed with all the others right there. And I'm associated with it. You can see my avatar and I can associate other people with it as I want. So when you click on it, go back into it, you're going to be able to see all of these tabs up here. So you can do different things with this particular project, and your files are located here in the workspace. And you can expand the folders and subfolders and see all your topics and all of your project files, such as your targets and all that good stuff. So now that I have this project up in here, well, let's say that you also have Flare Desktop. You don't have to have both Flare Online and Flare Desktop, but let's say that you do have it. And you've created the project up here, but you also want to work with it on your desktop. So what do? Let's go into Flare Desktop. So here I am, and I'm logged in. You can see my avatar right there, and I can come to View and select Flare Online. It opens up this Flare Online window pane, and I can click right here to import this from Flare Online. And come in here, and I'm going to select, there's the project that I want to add, and it asks you where you want to put it. I'm just going to leave it at that location. Click OK. After a little bit of time, you'll see this, and you click Finish. And it'll ask you if you want to pull the latest repository and update the files in the project. You can select yes or no. I'll select yes and click OK. It says all files are up to date. Click OK. And there it is. I've imported it down into my desktop and I can go and work with it. And as I work with it, I can commit files and transfer them up to Flare Online by using this sync button right there. But here you have it. You have the project in both locations. Now you can also go the other direction. Let's say that I have a project called Module 10. So I created it. It's open right here. I go back to that Flare Online window pane right here. So now there's a different button I'll select, and that is this one right here to upload this to Flare Online. Flare gives me the name, Module 10. I can add a description. I'm not going to. Just click OK. After a little bit, you'll see this little thing. Click OK. And you're done, and you know you're done because this populates right here, letting you know it's bound to Flare Online. So now if I go back up to Flare Online, click this thing to refresh the page, there's my Module 10. So why have projects in both places, Flare Online and Flare Desktop? Well, you might not need to at all. You might be able to do everything that you need to do up here in Flare Online. But there might be certain features, such as really advanced authoring features, where you need to use the desktop. So I have another video called Flare Online versus Flare Desktop that is included with the playlist that I mentioned. That's at the end of this video or in the description. You can go check that out, and I explain a little bit more about the differences between the two. Now, whenever you create a project, you are using Git as the source control solution behind the scenes. And so it is this concept of committing to a repository when you make changes, and then you are able to, if you have Flare Online and Flare Desktop, syncing between the two. So you have that whole source control solution going on behind the scenes. But if you're only working up in Flare Online, it's a whole lot easier because you're just clicking a commit button and committing things to the repository. I'll show you that here coming up pretty soon. So what you can do in a particular project depends on your permissions, right? So all these things in here, okay, files, I can edit files and things, but also whether you're associated with the project. And on the projects page, you can see the users who are associated with each one of these. And Marge Gunderson, who I just added, well, she's not associated with any of these projects. Poor Marge. So let's say I want to associate her with, let's say, this Module 11 project. So I can do this in a few different ways. I can go to Marge's profile, or I can go to the project profile like this and click on Access, click on Edit, and I can associate that project with teams, which already include groups of people, or I can select individual people, and I'll just select Marge Gunderson right there. Click Save, close out of here, and now Marge is also associated with that project. So if she has permissions for certain things, she can work in that project. Once you've got a project in Flare Online, there's lots of things that you could do with that project, but I just wanted to take a little time to focus on what is most common. And so if I open up this project, which we created in here, yeah, I can deal with checklists and translations and reports and all these things, but probably the thing that you're going to be doing most of the time is adding and editing files. And so you come into the workspace, and that is where you do that. Now, again, you always have to make sure you have the right permissions. So let's go take a look at those real quick in here. And you want to come down all the way down to files. And first of all, you need this most basic create edit files permission. There's also this edit code permission, and that's probably for people who are more advanced and you want to actually edit the markup for a file. And so if you are an admin and can control people's permissions, you might want to deselect that for people who aren't as advanced. There's also this one, edit files with AI assist. So you can integrate your license with ChatGPT if you've got an account, and you will be able to use AI when you are creating and editing content. I'm going to cancel out of here because I have all of these permissions. So that AI thing would be set here in your license settings. There's AI assist, and you would go in and do all that from there. So you can look at the help system to see, what that's all about, how to set it up. Now, once you want to work with your files, they're over here on the left. So you got your content files, you got your project files, and you also have these buttons up here. So for certain file types, you can add a new file to the project. So you can add topics, snippets, template pages, targets, so on. I can add a topic, and I can put it in the path where I want it to be in here. I could copy from to give it the same content, the same everything that an existing file of the same type has, and click add. I'm not going to add one, but you can see how easy that is. You can also use this button to upload new files. Now, when you want to just start editing something. You go in and you open up that topic or that file, and you come into here, and this is this lorem ipsum Latin thing. So of course you get all these red marks under here, but I could come in and just start make changes in here, right? And when you do, you get the commit button. So this goes back to this source control thing that I was talking about. That's how you say that I'm done and you want to lock in your changes. It saves automatically up here in the cloud, but committing it means that I'm done here. Here's a comment on my changes, and I want it committed to the thing called a repository right here. And so only things that are part of the repository will be part of output that you then build. So you want to make sure that you commit it. Now, the thing about working up in here is this is collaborative authoring. So multiple people, whoever has the right to be in here, they can all be working on the same topic, the same file at the same time. And you would see little indicators as they're working. You'd see their name and stuff. And so it's really, really cool. And there are controls for, not stepping on each other's feet in here and, just keeping everything streamlined and in sync. And I do have another video, of course, on that I have a bunch of videos on projects. So I've got this one called Collaborative Authoring, and you might want to check that out. I go into more detail, but I'll just commit this change right here. You want to add a good commit message. I'm kind of cheating and just adding this one word in here, but usually you want to add a little bit of information about, hey, this is what I did basically in this file. Click commit, and there we go. So I'm done with that. So this now would be part of the output that I build because it is now part of the repository since I committed it. So that's very, very quick. Oh, also just want to mention that the toolbar up here. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can hover over all of these and you can see what all of these options do in here. This gives you the most basic, essential things that you're going to need as an author. And it also includes this AI button. If you do happen to integrate your license with ChatGPT with AI, you will be able to use this to create and edit content. But creating tables and lists and inserting images, the most basic things that you need to do. If you really want to get into very, very heavy duty authoring, you might consider working down in Flare Desktop to do things that aren't available here. But you could probably get a lot done up in here, including going in, like I said, editing the code, the markup. So if you have that permission, you can go in there and do that. So that's a real quick look at authoring. I would check out that other video because there's a lot more to learn. Another thing I want to talk about in this video that I think is really important, but not everybody is necessarily going to do this, and that is working with analytics. In other words, you are going to be able to see how people are interacting with your output. What are they searching for? What are they searching for and not finding? What topics are they looking at the most? And that can be really useful to help you improve your content over time. Now, like everything else, you got to make sure you have the right permissions. Let's go check that out. And we are looking at this one right here, manage output analytics keys. All right, cancel. So analytics is right over here. And I already have lots of keys that are created in this project. And to create a new one, you can actually do this in a couple of different places. You can do it in Flare Online and you can do it down in Flare Desktop. Either way works. I'm going to do one right here, and then I will also go and show you how to do it in Flare Desktop. I'm going to click right here and give this thing a name. So just whatever makes sense that lets you track this. So let's say that module 11 project, maybe I just abbreviate it, mod 11, and then maybe that's on version 5, and I want to, I'm tracking what's going on in the help. So I might do something like that. and put a description if it helps, possibly if you have other team members, and click save. So I've got it right here, but there's nothing in there. You click in and it's empty. And I don't think I have anything in any of these others right now. These are all just kind of test analytics. But what you want to do then is hook this up so that it makes sense, so that it has meaning. And when I say hook it up, you need to go into a target, and not just any target, but an HTML5 target, an online target. That's what it's going to work with. So let's go in here into projects, go into module 11, and I will go into workspace and project targets. This is my an HTML5 target. It just happens to have that name. It doesn't have to. It can be called anything, but it's an HTML5 target. So I do that, and I come in and I click edit. And I'm looking for that analytics key right here down at the bottom. And I will just go in and select that. So it's hooked up to that. And I'm going to commit this change, added analytics key, and click commit. So that is all set to go. And the cool thing about this is that you don't even have to be hosting your output up in Flare Online. You could build your output and host it somewhere else, and the analytics will still work. You can still track things by going back over here. Now let's go into Flare Desktop real quick. Back here in Flare Desktop, I have the Module 10 project open right now. I was just working on Module 11, and here I have Flare Desktop set up to ask me this. Whenever I open up a new project, it just asks me, do you want to pull the latest? And I'm going to select yes, because it's just best practice. And I'm going to get that latest change that happened up in Flare Online. And what was that latest change? That was in my target right here. So you're seeing this syncing happening. And I'm on the analytics tab, and you can see there is my analytics key right there. So it worked. But let's go into this other project, Module 10. And again, it's going to ask me, and I always say yes, because it's always best to do a poll in here. So that's all it's doing, and it's up to date. And the poll, it's the same thing as on this tab right there, poll. So how do I do the same thing from Flare Desktop? Go into my target in here. I'm using the same template, so it's the same file names and everything. So go to my Analytics tab. It's kind of down here. And then select my provider, and I want Flare Online. And I'm logged in already, so I click Create, and I could do mod. In this case, I'll just do mod 10. Click OK. And it adds it. I save this. Now look what happens down here. This gives me a number. It lets me know, hey, you've made a change. You need to commit it, just like we commit things on Flare in Flare Online. And I go up here and add a message, added analytics key. All right, and I'm going to commit this. So it's committed to my local repository, but I want to get this back up to Flare Online. So this little sync button right here, so it moved the number from here to here. Click this, going to click OK here, and now it is syncing and it is pushing this. First it's pulling from the remote repository, which is Flare Online, and then it pushes. So we did that. Let's go back to Flare Online. If I go look for Module 10, I go look in my project, target, down here, there's Mod 10 Analytics Key. So it was just a quick little lesson in not only creating the key, but also synchronizing changes between Flare Online and Flare Desktop. Now, just because I created these keys and they show up in here, there's my Mod 11 one, there's my Mod 10 one, there's nothing in here. And not until you build and publish, host your output, and people start clicking on it. But it just kind of happens automatically as people are doing things in your output that you can come in here and you can see things. But again, this is empty. I'll show you one that is actually active in my actual project. This is what it would actually look like over time as people are looking at things. You can see I've got phrases. These are the most searched for phrases in this output. You can see what's going on, and you can select any of these others, phrases with no results, browser information down here. So this is really, really super useful, and I wanted to include it in this video because I think it's so important. So building output from your projects is definitely one of the most important things you're going to do in Flare Online. Of course, you first have to make sure you have the right permissions. Go in here, come down under builds. There are all these permissions under builds. The main one right here is run schedule builds, and there are others. I have them all. I'm going to click cancel. So come over to projects. This is our new module 11 project. Open that up, come up to builds. And it's very, very simple to do this. So I don't have any builds in here. As I create builds, you're going to see lots of rows in here, for one for each build, which you can keep in here or you can delete over time as you need to. And I'm going to create a brand new build. And first of all, it's asking you what branch. So because this is a source control, get source control solution, you have the ability to set up branches. And not everybody's going to do this. I recommend people do it. Again, I've got videos on that, mostly on the Flare desktop side, but the information relates here too. So whether you or not you create a branch, you have one, and it's called master. But you can create additional branches, like I said. But I'm just going to select that, and then a target. There's an HTML5 one called HTML5. I'm just going to build that. And that is the one, the target that we hooked up to analytics. So we're going to see what happens here. Click next. Now on this languages tab, if I worked with this translations area up here and Mad Translations or another translator, and I got my content translated into one or more languages, they would come back and there would be my project in another branch. So branch is just a variation of your project content. And so if I had French and Spanish in here, I might add both of those, and then I would be able to build output in all of my languages, English, French, and Spanish. But I have another video on that, so go check that out. I'm not going to select anything here. Click next. It's a summary. Click build. And so it starts working here. And it added this row. Every build has an ID. It gives you information in these columns, which you can control here, what you want to see and what you don't. And I can scroll over here. You can see the progress of this thing going on. The source is, in this case, Flare Online. If I built it directly from Flare Desktop, you'd see a different icon in here. And it's all done. It just finished because this is a little project, not much content. I can just click on this, and I can click on this to actually see the output. So that is very easy to do. Now, of course, this was a tiny little project, didn't take long to build. A project that's got a lot more files is going to take longer to build. But you not only have this tab, you also have this one right here. And this is really cool. You can set up a build schedule. So if you want builds to automatically run under certain circumstances, certain times and certain days, you can do that. So you might set this up nightly to run a build based on the new changes every night while you're asleep. It's really nice. So we have our build in here. And what do you do with this? Well, now you want to get this into the hands of your end users, possibly. So that's what we're going to talk about next. The final thing I'm going to share with you is the ability to give your end users access to your output, and that is done with sites. So I'm going to click right here, and I have one site in here. Again, there would be lots of rows in here if I had lots of sites. What's a site? A site, it's very simple. It's just a collection of information about a particular output. So it's what is the output exactly? And we just saw it from the project's builds page, we have some output. So what is the output? What is going to be the path to get to that output? Is it going to be live? Is it going to be private? So different information like that. And that's what you do here. So let's see about permissions once again. Let's go here, permissions. It's actually right over here, manage sites. It's under the administrative stuff. So I already have that. Good. All right, so I want to create a new site, let's say for that module 11 HTML5 output that I just generated. So what I'm going to do is click here on that plus button, and I'm going to give it a name. It can be anything that I want, but something, just this is for you so that you know exactly what you're dealing with. So maybe same thing as what I did with the analytics key, maybe mod 11, it's on version 5, this is for the help. Doesn't have to match your analytics, but in this case, I'm doing the same thing because this might make sense to me. Now, the domain, if you want to just keep it simple, you can use Flare Online's domain, which is .mcoutput.com, but you might want to set up your own domain. For example, when you look at the online help for Flare Online, you're going to notice that the path is documentation.madcapsoftware.com because I wanted something different. So I set up my own, and I did that over here in URLs. There's information in the help system on how to do this. You do that with some of it from here in Flare Online and some with your provider. And then you can put in a vanity just to make your path simpler, right? So I'll just put cool beans in here because no one's here to stop me. And you'll see where this comes up. It comes up in place of just about a mixture of just random numbers and things. So I'm not going to do a site. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to come down here to build. What's my project? All right, module 11. And what's the target? Now I've only built output for one target. This project has another target, but I haven't built any output for it. So I'm limited here, and I'm going to select that. What's my branch? Again, I only have this master branch in that particular project right now. Scroll down. What's my build? I could select the latest build. I would only do that under certain circumstances, like if you have private output and you don't want like customers to see your output. Maybe employees is fine, so you keep it private. But otherwise, I would select a specific build. And if I had lots of builds from that builds page, they would all be listed in here. And this is that ID that's in that row. There's the date and time that it built. That's the one that I want. If I want this to be live for everybody to see, click there and it'll include it in search engines by default. There's my set private, but I'm going to make this public access. There is my URL, fictionsoft.mcoutput.com/coolbeans/default.htm. Default.htm because this is an HTML5 target, and that's just the entry point to get in. And I click save, and now I can just close out of this, and it adds it right in here. And if you ever, forget what the path is, just come in here, open that up, there it is. And you can click that and look at the output. So there you have it. Those are the 6 things that I would start concentrating on if I just wanted to get started in Flare Online. But again, there's a whole ton of other things that you can do in Flare Online, and you can explore that in the other videos or in the documentation, whatever works best for you. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you next time.